Yo, YouTube, what's good? Real gamer stand up. It's your boy Young Black, true gamer all day. Um, I've been housebound for a couple days now, so because of the illness. But I've been feeling a lot better. You can see I'm starting to clear up a little bit, so I'm starting to feel a lot better. Um, Thanks to everybody who's wishing me help, wishing me good health and everything. I appreciate it. It feels good to read good comments when you're going through something. You want to look and see somebody is not judging you because of appearance, but actually saying, I hope you feel better and get back to being 100%. You see my man riding on the shirt. I love this shirt. It looks real cool on the camera too. It's really cool. It says Metal Gear Rising at the bottom. It's an awesome shirt. I got this shirt from Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City, Long Island, which I live. I live in Long Island, New York. But anyway, I've been in the house, been playing a couple games. I picked up a lot of the new titles that's out. If you, I don't think you guys can see because I'm probably standing in front of it. See, I got the Tomb Raider standee behind me. My homies at GameStop hooked me up with that. Right. So I've been home a lot, and I ain't really been working too much. My wife is working every day. Love my girl to death. She holds your boy down. Um, so I really have to been doing too much, just leaning back, maybe cook a little dinner for the kids. Um, you know, watch a couple movies with wifey, smoke a little reefer, little things. And so I've been having a lot of time to play games. I've been buying a lot of games to play because I've been in the house just taking care of the kids, doing the daddy daycare, chilling in the house type thing. So I recently beat God of War Ascension yesterday. I'm a big God of War head. I got all the God of War games, not in their original forms. I got the HD collection, and I got this. So I'm a big God of War head when it comes to that. When it comes to God of War in general, so I know the story pretty well. Um, but in this God of War, it's not the best God of War of them all. But there is some things in this game that, to me, sets the bar far above all the other God of War games and all the other PS3 games I played this generation. Well, not mechanics wise, visually. I mean, what I mean is the graphics in this game is ridiculously done well. I mean, done ridiculously well. I mean, all the other God of War games when you play as Kratos and they zoom in on his character model, he just looks like he has white skin with that red spiral tattoo around him. And even if they splattered blood on Kratos, it would disappear. It disappears in this game too, but it would disappear, and it just didn't look like he was a real person going through an adventure. It looked like you could tell he was a character. In this game, Kratos looks like a person. I mean, his skin has texture. When they get real close, you can actually see Kratos' skin texture and how the white paint or how his skin is white and there's dirt and stuff on top of his white skin from him just being Kratos, and things like that. And it just looks so freaking immaculate. I've never seen nothing like it. It looks so freaking real. This is the realest Kratos I ever seen, and probably some of the realest facial animations for characters I've ever seen in a video game for the PS3 so far. Besides maybe Heavy Rain, but it's amazing. What I mean. And another thing, a lot of people are talking about, because I always look at other reviews and other comments before I make my videos, and I play the game myself. Sometimes I might beat the whole thing. Most of the time I won't, because you get a gist of what things are by playing it, unless it has some type of switcheroo ending or some type of halfway through the game, the gameplay changes dramatically. But most of these games don't really do that. They won't take that dramatic of a change because they risk offsetting if somebody liked the beginning a lot and then you fuck up the other half of the game. But anyway, there was a lot of things I liked about this game, and there were some things I didn't like about this game. The story could have been so much better. I mean, Kratos is a very traumatized character, so you want a very emotional reaction from Kratos. In this God of War takes place. I'm not sure if it's a year, but it's before God of War 1, and Kratos is more human-like in this game. I mean, he's a human for sure, but as you know, he becomes a god later, and he becomes more visceral with his abilities and everything. In this game, you feel Kratos' human side a little bit more than in the other God of War games. Um, but also, the way his weapons work are also different. Like his weapon, not his repertoire of weapons, but just the way he uses the chains are dramatically different, and I wish that every God of War he could use the chains like he uses them in this game, because the shit you can do in this game with his chains is fucking ridiculous, and it makes sense. I mean, in the first couple God of War games, I was like, damn, he has chains for a weapon. He can't wrap nobody around with the chains or anything like that and yoke them towards them. It just seemed like an obvious play mechanic that was missing, that should have been there from the beginning. Well, it's in this game, okay? And you can not just yoke them with the chain. You can put the chain around them and hold one guy in place and fight guys around you with a chain, and then yoke that guy towards you, slam him on the ground and air combo him up, or yoke him towards you and then throw him towards a bunch of other group of enemies, or you can use them to do quick kills. Because another thing they added to this version of God of War is the enemies have combat states where, like, instead of you just being able to whoop a guy a couple times with the chains and then go up to him and grab him and rip them apart, you have to look at this thing that comes over their head. It's like a line. Sometimes it's white, which means they're stunned, and sometimes it's red, which means they're in critical condition. And then you can pull off those execution moves that we all know and love, um, which are normally quick time events. In this game, they are quick time events, but Sony is so masterful with doing certain things. I love the way they put the quick time events in this God of War. They left the quick time events there, but they did them in a new way, so that the quick time events are interactive. Like, you can fight a Medusa, and she'll get a red thing over her head, and then when she has the red thing over her head, Kratos will grab her, and it's not just a bunch of quick time motions to kill her. You actually have to maneuver the quick time event yourself manually, so you're stuck in a motion with Kratos maybe stabbing the Medusa in the tail, and while it's trying to run away, and it'll turn around and try to slash you, and you have to actually pay attention to the enemy while you're killing it, close up in this quick time event manually, instead of just pressing one or two buttons. You're mashing buttons to kill it manually, and it'll turn around and try to slash you, and you have to pay attention and then hold the analog stick left or right to dodge the attack and keep killing it, right? And then on top of that, it'll go to a second stage of the quick time, the manual controlled quick time event is what I'm calling it. And it'll get up, and Kratos will yank it up with his chains to get it close, and then start hitting it in the face, right? And then it'll still try to slash you, and then you got more dodge moves. And as you keep slashing it, and it'll keep missing you, and if it doesn't hit you and you keep dodging, he'll finish it off, and it'll take enough damage, and he'll do a real crazy critical attack. I thought that was freaking epic. It's beautiful the way they did that. It made the combat more interactive. You felt like you was right there in the middle of it. You know, the way they did it, you felt like it was you really in there doing that. Like, if you really get a satisfaction in the way they do the quick time events in this game, and it's just evidence that you can do quick time events in visceral combat correctly without making it just single button presses. You understand me? But that I thought was epic. The story could have been a lot better. The story consists of a lot of flashbacks, and 1 minute they're saying a week ago, and then it'll go to your player stage, and then you'll go to another part of another stage, and then it'll say 3 weeks earlier. I'm like, what the hell, man? Can I get a straightforward story? I mean, I'm losing track of. I understand these are bits and pieces of what's happening in Kratos' life before he might have got to the Furies, and everything, which I didn't really explain the Furies and all of that, but I'm pretty sure you guys have watched enough of these videos that you probably know about the Furies. But the Furies are basically the keepers of oaths to the gods. If you make an oath to any of the gods of Olympus and you break it, the Furies come and drag your ass into the Hercules or whatever the hell this thing is, which is a titan with hundreds of arms on top of arms, which is really creepy fucking looking, right? So Kratos ends up there because he wants to break his bond with Ares, right? That's the plot of the game, right? I'm not going into too much more deeper stuff than that, between just much more than just the aesthetics, but combat is great. Graphics are fucking off the wall, incredible. It does glitch sometimes where you do try to go in for a kill. You might see a guy like teleport over there and teleport back to you real quick. It's not perfect. It is a little glitchy, but you know you're gonna do updates and that'll be worked out. So that's nothing. Nothing is game breaking. I hear a lot of people saying that they don't like this God of War. When I picked it up, one of the guys at my GameStop was telling me, the manager, Justin is his name, he didn't like it at all. But I'm like, I don't know how, if you like God of War remotely, you wouldn't like this even a little bit, because it is another episode of Kratos' life. And if you're a God of War fan and you play the other games, you have to play it. That's just how real gamers are. I can't play part 2 unless I've played part 1. If you're a real gamer, that's just the way it is. You want to start at the beginning and get a full story. No matter how cool the newest version of it looks, right? But as I was playing the game, I also noticed a scene that my man Adam Sessler from Rev 3 Games, who is to me the illest game reviewer that's out right now, and he's like the NFL of video game reviewers to me. But anyway, he was saying that there was a scene which I got to where he thought it was a little too brutal, and it was a scene where you stomping a female evil character in the face, and it just looked like, ah, man, because it was a woman, it just seemed like it was a little too over the top brutal visually to be in a video game. When I seen it and I pulled it off and I got to that part of the game, I mean, if I would have never heard Adam say anything about it or bring attention to it or other people bringing attention to it, I don't know if I would have felt as disturbed by it as I did. But it was a little bit disturbing. I mean, I know Kratos and God of War as a game, as a series in general, is a brutal, over the top game, but it's just some avenues in the lane of class. It's just like it didn't seem like a classy moment in God of War. It seemed like a minor setback. I mean, it fit within the God of War mythos of what the character is and what he does, but since the main enemies in this game are females, um, I don't know. I didn't want Kratos to be softer about the way he killed them, but just the manner and the way that he stomped this female character out, it was a little disturbing. It just seemed like he was manhandling her, and she was powerless, even though she's not, and she's really evil and devious and demonic and all of that type of stuff. But it just, I don't know. The visual aspect of it just seemed like Sony. It wasn't really a classy moment in God of War for you guys. I mean, it didn't disturb me that much, but it just looked like it could have been done classier. It didn't have to look like a WWE wrestler beating on his wife, because that's what it looked like. It was horrible looking. But Kratos is a brutal character, as we know. He shows no remorse. So I'm thinking maybe Sony said even male or female, it doesn't matter to Kratos. And these characters did have him chained and was torturing him for days, starting in the beginning of the game. They show you like how he's chained up. So who knows? I mean, his rage is infinite. So who knows? He probably, it was a revenge thing, but still, it was a little just too much for me visually. Because it was a female character. I didn't feel bad for the character. I felt bad for Sony for depicting in the killing of or just the beating of a female character that way. It just was a little disturbing, a little bit off-putting. But anyway, besides that little tidbit, the combat is great. The graphics is great. Um, the story could have been a lot better. I didn't like the ending too much either, but you gotta give Sony its props in certain areas though. Even though this game isn't a perfect God of War, these games have been coming out for a long time. I mean, I remember when God of War 2 came out and it was on PS2 and the PS3 was out already, and they decided to put God of War on the PS2, which was smart as hell because the PS2 has the longest lifespan of any system I ever seen in my life. Even though it's done now, but I mean, it was still on and popping for a long time while the PS3 was sitting right next to it. You could go buy PS2 and go buy the new Madden or the new whatever, the new NFL this or the new. They made multiple versions of one game for two different systems that were the same company. So that right there is a staple to me. And God of War 2 looked amazing on the PS2. You didn't feel like you wish you had it was on the PS3. It felt like it belonged where it was and it was good, right? And they've been doing these games for a long time, so you got to give Sony props that just right now it's starting to get stale. But does it make this game less fun? No, it doesn't make this game less fun. This game is to me is as fun as any other God of War game. It just has small downsides to it, and I think people are they're over analyzing and over exaggerating certain things in this game. You know what I mean? Like the violent stomping of that female character's face. I mean, it is disturbing, but I think they're just overplaying it a little bit. It's God of War. It's going to be brutal. I mean, they could have been saying it's sexist for all the sex scenes in every God of War game where he's freaking having sex with like multiple females at once, where they just like material objects to him basically. But nobody says nothing about that. But as soon as he stomps a female's face in, it's over the top and this, that, and the third. He's Kratos. The whole series is over the top. But I do understand where they're coming from. I just think they just crying a little too much about it. But it is a little with the visuals. My little cocktail. But anyway, if you're a fan of God of War and you play all the games, you keep them, they're one of your favorite PS3 games, PS3 series on the console, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. But if you're just a person who dibbles and dabbles into the God of War games, maybe you pick them up and don't play them and don't beat them or something, I wouldn't recommend this to you. I mean, just for the simple fact that it doesn't give you every bam and pow that all the other God of War games. It doesn't have all the lights and whistles, but it does expand the series in certain avenues that the other games didn't even touch. Like the chain combat is amazing. He doesn't get any extra weapons like he does in other God of Wars, like extra swords or a bow or anything like that. Instead, you can take the enemy's weapons off the ground and they attach that to another button on the controller. You know, and I got to give Sony props just for they changed the control scheme on the controller for certain things. Normally, circle is grab in God of War, but it's not. They changed it to the grab button is actually the button that you whip the chain out to wrap around people with, and they use that as the grab button at the same time. And then they made circle the secondary weapon button. And it works. It works. It's like Kratos has 3 attacks now on the face of the controller, and if you don't have a weapon, right? He can use his hands, which I was like another thing that should have been done in God of War a long time ago. I mean, I understand he has these beautiful blades of chaos and they're attached to him and he can't take them off and all of that, but you never see Kratos really use his hands. He's big and bulky. He could have been a skinny acrobat just swinging chains, because besides him taking down humongous colossal monsters, his physical aspect of him didn't really make that much of a difference in his fighting style, because all he does is swing these chains. Well, in this, you can really see him use his hands, and he can really be visceral and has some versatility to him using his hands in combat. And it's not just like he has one combo string and it feels cheap. No, you can tap circle and he'll do a regular bunch of punches in a combo with a kick at the end, or you can hold circle when he has a launcher, or you can do an air combo with the chains and then finish off with a downward dive punch with your hands. Like, it feels very integral. The combat for God of War has to be like that. Everything has to meld together, right? Another thing they did was they added elements, well, not per se elements, but just elemental aspects to the way Kratos' weapons work in this game. Like, you go across you find these different like vases, or like they're like these things, urns or something, and they have magic in them, like magic from the gods, like Zeus's lightning and Ares spirit energy. That purple spirit energy that Ares uses. Not Ares, Hades. Excuse me, Hades uses. Hades' purple spirit energy that he uses, that you would see in God of War 3 if you played that on his blades. What else does he get? Ice, which felt a little awkward. The ice ability, which was from Poseidon. And fire from Ares, which was the one I used the most. I love the fire ability, where not only does Kratos have his regular move set, but even though it's mapped a little differently to the controller, like he can do the whirlwind attack with the chains and all of that, but now they mapped it and made it a little bit easier to do. Instead of you having to hold the L1 and press a square or a triangle, which you still can do that to do different moves, but those moves are attached to the new elemental abilities instead of them being attached to his basic chain attacks. Meaning he has his basic chain attacks now, like the whirlwind ability, and when he goes up in the air and whips the chains around like this in his hand, and then smacks you down and pops you back up. He can still do all of that, but it's just mapped to the controller differently. Instead of it being holding L1 and pressing square or triangle, you hold down square or hold down triangle to do those moves now. And then when you get these different elements, which is 4 types, which are mapped on the directional pad, you can switch in between those, and then they have the hold L1 and press square and press triangle abilities, and they do different shit. And it looks amazing. Like the ice will freeze people, or if it doesn't freeze them all the way, it'll freeze them partially, and then their animations will slow down, giving you opportunities to defeat them because they're slower than normal. Like, they just did a lot of ill shit. And then on top of that, they, the rage, there's a rage meter at the corner of the screen where if you get a good amount of successful hits without being touched, it'll fill up, and then depending on which elemental thing you have on there, you get different little abilities once it fills all the way up, which is really cool because it fills up pretty quick. And if you can stop getting hit and really pull off some ill shit, like, you can really do some craziness in this game. And then you can each element also has a magic ability attached to it. Like Ares has the army of, Hades has like the army of Hades, Ares has like a double stab in the ground where he turns like one area into like a volcano and it's like explodes, and you can hit it once and then have a button prompt to hit it twice. Um, I didn't use Zeus's electricity too much, so I don't know too much about it. He has like it's like a stunning. His that the lightning is like a stunning ability where you hit them with the lightning and it'll stun them. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. But my favorite has got to be the fire and the Hades. Just for the fact that when you use Hades' moves and you do a combo with the purple on the blades, and then you get the triangle at the end, he hits the ground, a hand comes out like from Hades and also smacks the enemy. That was fucking awesome. I love that. Right? It just looks so cool to do. Like, oh shit, did you see that? Or if you do the just press square a couple times and just mash square with the 4-button prompt, and one soldier from the army of Hades will come out and hit a couple guys and then go away. Like little aspects of that, the way they did that, I thought that was fucking cool, yo. I really, really, really like the combat in this game. So I don't know what people are talking about when it comes to that. All right, now it's rating time. If I had to rate this game from I don't know, do I normally do 1 to 10 or out of 5 stars? I do like 1 to 10, right? Um, I say this game is an 8 for the God of War series. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, an 8. All right, because the other games are like ridiculous. The other God of War games are like a good 8.59s. All right, this is like an 8, right? But it is just as enjoyable as the other games, and it's worthy of being in your God of War collection. Especially if you're a God of War fan, you came this far, you can't turn back now. I mean, you can't miss this game in your collection if you have all the others. But anyway, yeah, God of War Ascension, go pick that up if you like that. Or if you like God of War. I'm also going to be doing a review next, which I'm currently playing. Now that I finished God of War, I'm starting to play Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. Now, I know a lot of people are like, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3? Like, who the fuck plays that? I've been an anime fan since I was younger, so I had to get the new Naruto. And my man, one of my peoples, he got me hooked on Naruto a while ago, so I'm a big fan of Naruto. I got an Akatsuki jacket over here, too. You probably can't see it, but it is hanging over there. My little cosplay. I wore it for Halloween one year, and now it just sits around my house. I don't never wear it again. But I'm gonna be playing that. I'll bring you a review of that. I played the beginning of this game, the first couple scenes, which I'm not even gonna talk about right now, just because I need another video to make. Also, like I said, I don't know if I did say this already, but I think I did. You see my Tomb Raider standee right there. So I'm gonna also be playing. Let me just go get it. It's in my box over here. Tomb Raider. Alright, just got this too. I haven't played it. My son has been playing it, and he's telling me it's really, really good. And he likes it. And that's basically it, guys. This is what I'll be playing. I hope you like the review. God of War Ascension, so go get it. Make sure real gamers stand up. And thank you for all the get well wishes. Talk to you guys soon.